Many people like simple stories, those in which the main character protects the weak, helps the disadvantaged, shot the bad guys, and does the other good deeds. I find myself love such stories, so when I had a desire to buy a mediocre action movie in the open world, the choice immediately fell on Mad Max. Huge location, pleasant surroundings, hundreds of points of invest, and no crap. Even in their extra advertising campaign, the developers were extremely frank with the players. Nothing extra, only a selective routine and methodical cleaning of the entire map. There is a kind of special aesthetics in this, of a coming ballroom, each time to challenge mortal danger and go and waste the wasteland. But there is something else in this, something that haunts me, something that warms my tournament soul. Who is the game recommended for all who should not be allowed near it? Is the game anything fresh and original in it? And is Mad Max an expectation to the mediocre game adaptation rule? Let's try to understand in this review. The game begins with Mad Max, the main character, being brutally attacked by local militant resident and losing everything, armor, weapons and a car. However, he survives and is eager to take the revenge of his offenders. At the same time, having teamed up with a certain Tismith, he begins to look for parts to create the masterpiece, the fastest and the most powerful car in the entire Westland. There are no cool or heartbreaking moments in the game plot. As I said, a simple story, and the search for details comes down to two global activities, driving cars and hand-to-hand fights. Despite the obviously low budget, the first impression of the game is positive. The pristine and majestic wasteland hides the stories of the ruined destination. Through the environment, notes and photographs, he takes about the old ways, when the world was ordinary and safe. To be honest, in the first few hours I received a critical dose of a thick atmosphere and was already on the verge of catharsis when I was suddenly thrown out into the open world, where the main action began, the capture of the towers, races and dozens of small activities. The basics of the gameplay is battle with the enemies. The combat system is said to be taken entirely from the Batman, but I didn't play the Arkham series, so I'll describe the fight in my own words. The main emphasis on its entertainment, convex geography and effective techniques. Max now and other right someone's hand, twists his neck, kick and pushes like a professional fighter. For the players, a collision with an enemy is time altered pressing or 2 or 3 buttons, block, counter-suck and finishing off. Max can also use a shotgun, but the player quickly realizes that it will have not many shoot the fuel tanks and special enemies. Ammunition comes across very little, and fights with ordinary opponents that do not require to use the firearm and aberrant. It is allowed to use both melee weapons as kind of tactical element. Most of the time, however, enemies will just run towards you. This is not all necessary to plan every step. The clearing of any camps always follow one scenario: penetration, detection of one by your enemy, destruction of enemies and the fulfillment of additional optional conditions. And there are dozens such camps, large, small, and it's all in the game. I think it would be not superfluous to say that open world is either completely empty or in explicitly copy paste as you like it more. The locations lack intelligent life. Mad saves do nothing in their base. They just wait for the players to come for them, and no one even tried to recuperate the already cleared camps, fortify the controlled territory or come to the aid of neighbors. During the journey, the player will survive, stumble upon a sniper ambush, an enemy patrol, or a group of wandering dying of thirst, but only 40 minutes have passed and each of these events have already repeated several times. Globally, the gameplay is reduced to the systematic cleaning of each region. Any activities such as demining, destroying Sakaras, or shooting the aforementioned snipers lowers the threat of the rival and region, and the main character in return raises his level and open up access to improved equipment and pulling abilities. Just this familiar. Thank you anyway. They try to weave the pumping of the hero into the narrative. Every time you decide to increase this or that indicator, Max meets with a certain mystery strangers who begins to describe the fate of your hero in most general phrases. The funny thing is that the whole pseudo-philosophical stream of thoughts will ultimately lead nowhere. Perhaps this is due to the fact that Max simply invested this wonder. But one way or another, the length, empty dialogues and the investigation state of these serial scenes perfectly reflect the situation with the story as a whole. I will not expand on the plot and characters anymore, for this is nothing to talk about. According to the Steam statistics, less than 30% of the players made it end to the credits. This means that the game attracts people to the others, attracts with the grind. If you like the trick and the enveloping atmosphere of routine and monotony, no kidding, this game is definitely for you. However, Mad Max seriously loses to the other games of the genre due to this primitiveness of its mechanics. All you do is farm, for ammo, for mods, racing, and even the story. Sometimes it's also called a farm for the sake of farm, and nothing else in the game. On the other hand, what else is needed? This is a Mad Max game. You can drive here, jump, race, crash into the cars, get out the car and fight hand to hand with every diverse and deadly enemies. You can look at the secrets, or you can simply go whatever you look. There is even a pumping, there is a no plot, and the graphics are nice. However, all this is not collected into a single clearly structured system, and it turns out another walkthrough game in the open world. Not bad of course, but not good either. In a word, nothing. Mad Max's main problem, as always, is privileging as secondary, not only in the relation to the other games, but even in relation to yourself. I can't deny it's all true. But sometimes very rarely I return to the wasteland. I know I'll find ever 101st pick. It's a lie, it does not exist. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Peace.